Russia's invasion has given rise to a galaxy of new military units within Ukraine. The 12th Army Aviation Brigade is not one of those. Dating back to the USSR, the brigade is the direct successor to a Soviet helicopter assault unit and remains equipped with Mi helicopters designed in the 60s and 70s. After 2014, the unit was actively engaged in activities in the Donbass, including evacuation of wounded civilians, as well as what they term anti-terrorist operations. Since 2022, they have been at the front lines, aiding in Ukraine's land forces and targeting primarily tanks, armored vehicles, and indeed plenty of infantry attacks. However, more recently they have turned to defending Ukraine's skies. We spoke with a pilot and a senior flight engineer from the 12th Aviation Brigade to learn how their mission has changed and how they are keeping Ukraine's skies safe today.
So, can you say where exactly you were on February 24th, 2022?
After finishing my training flight on the eve, if I remember correctly, that was at 4:16 a.m. I got a call from my cruise navigator and I was informed about the situation in the country. So I packed my backpack as fast as possible and we headed to the airfield, prepared our aviation equipment, and after getting the equipment ready, we moved it to protect it from attacks. So when the actual attacks began, our aircraft, our helicopters were already safe. After that, we were assigned to carry out missions. I remember that the first combat flight was carried out at night together with a crew. At night, using night vision goggles, it was roughly the center of Ukraine. I won't name the exact locations, but from there we carried out missions to destroy enemy personnel, specifically enemy columns that were moving or stopping to spend the night. We managed to catch the enemy by surprise, and the weather sort of helped us as well. The wind was head-on for us, and the enemy almost didn't hear us until we got right up close and destroyed them. At that moment, using just several helicopters, we destroyed, I can't name the exact number, but quite a lot of people. In the morning, people were surprised. They approached our helicopter crew commander and said, "Someone was working at night." And the commander replied, "We know, that was us."
Do you remember which direction your first mission was in?
Yes, I started flying in 2023, and my first missions were in Donetsk Oblast, the village of Rivnopil. I remember it as if it were today. That was my first combat sortie. It was kind of similar to the training here in the brigade. You sit down as if you were on the training ground, practicing. You're sitting there thinking, okay, I'm going to fly now, just like at the training ground. You have to fly a specific route at a specific speed and reach a designated point on a specific course. And at a specific moment, you have to perform a maneuver and open fire. You're taking off and it feels just like when you're at the training ground. And then literally 15 minutes fly by and now you're on a combat mission. Already near the front line and you're already firing. It all happened so quickly that I didn't even realize it at the time. There is excitement. During your first combat flight, you don't feel the danger because it's your first time. You might not realize certain risks, but during the second flight, or when the enemy creates obstacles to prevent you from completing your mission or hunts you with fighter jets, then you become aware of all the risks, all the danger, and the importance of your job in helping the infantry.
And when did you first feel this on a mission?
It was during my third rotation. I was also on a Mi-24 helicopter, and at that time the enemy was hunting us with planes, with their aviation. And we had to land so that our helicopter wouldn't be hit by an enemy plane or a missile.
Was it a MiG?
It was a Su-35 jet, so that they don't hit us, to save our lives. And when I first encountered this, it wasn't also fully conscious. But when I came back after the combat mission, sat down in a chair, I thought that the consequences could have been dire.
During a flight, when you are approaching a target, anything can happen there. There were even times at the beginning of 2022 when you could finish your task, turn around, and then artillery comes in. It just pours down from above like rain exploding right in front of you, and you have a split second to decide where to go. Whoever sees it first notifies the commander, and the commander decides where to go, right, left, or to turn around. There was also a time during a mission, I don't remember exactly, maybe a year ago or more, when a guided aerial bomb fell 250 to 500 kilograms. I saw it with my own eyes. You're flying and you just turn your head to the right for a second, and at a distance of about 300 meters away, a house just explodes. I hope there was no one inside, but a very big house just gets blown into the air in a second. The pilot performed the flight not over this village, but bypassing the village, because everyone understands that they're aiming there because our military might be there somewhere or might not be. It seems to me that the enemy strikes and tries to destroy anything because they have a lot of weapons. You're just flying and you don't know where something might fall. Weapons are weapons. And there are always risks.
And which missions were the scariest for you?
Well, the scariest were when the enemy started to develop unmanned aviation and drones began to be used. We had to carry out missions, striking enemy targets on the ground, while the enemy also launched drones, trying to locate and hit us. When I encountered this for the first time, it was difficult because, first, we didn't know how to act, since it was our first experience, and second, anxiety and fear were also present. You might not expect a drone, it can appear anywhere, at any moment.
And at first, were those Lancets or some other drones?
No, they can be small drones like FPV, different kinds.
Did you figure out how to act when hunted by a drone?
Well, yes, we tried to find some countermeasures. I won't reveal all the secrets, but there are ways to counteract. Avoid encounters with them, or maneuver when you already see them. Move away from them to prevent the helicopter from getting hit.
I also don't want to reveal all your secrets, but is maneuvering against drones different from maneuvering against Su-30 missiles?
Yes, of course. A Su-35 or Su-30 missile works according to one principle. There are certain maneuvers designed for that principle. Drones operate on a different principle. The maneuvers used for missiles don't work against them. So you have to find new maneuvers, for example, look for the drone's weak spots and use those weaknesses.
More recently, Army aviation activity along the front line has become increasingly dispersed. Russia has pulled much of its high-value equipment back beyond the range of Ukrainian helicopters. It no longer concentrates its infantry columns as it did at the start of the full-scale invasion. and the threat from Russian air defense systems has grown significantly. Despite these risks, Ukrainian helicopter crews continue to carry out frontline assault missions. At the same time, as Russia has intensified its long-range drone attacks across Ukraine, helicopter units are now more frequently drawn into direct airborne engagements, effectively assuming anti-air roles in addition to their traditional missions.
Ух ты, какой большой. Так, вы меня наводите, она закрыла.
Now we're more focused on taking down drones than missions against ground targets, because they pose a greater threat to people, the country, and the energy sector. If we hit a ground target, it's helping the infantry, but we also make different kinds of mistakes. Sometimes we can miss. But taking down a drone is 100% saving someone's life, a civilian life, and reducing blackouts for civilians to have power and heating. And as Russia increases these drone attacks, we counter them more.
Tell us about the first time you went drone hunting when your task was to hunt Shaheds.
We were scrambled. There was a mass drone attack at the time. A lot of drones were flying in. They started guiding us to target a specific drone. It was a Shahed 136 in black color. We got close to it, prepared to open fire, and we shot it down.
How do you feel when you're downing a Shahed from a helicopter?
When I shot one down for the first time, when it exploded, I didn't even really understand what it was at first. You're there, the entire crew is there, and then bam, there's this huge explosion. It's like daylight. You move aside to a safe distance and continue. Then you get used to it. They all behave differently. Sometimes if you damage some of their control elements in flight, like their wings, they can just flip over and simply fall. They can also lose a lot of fuel if you damage their fuel system. And if you hit their warhead, they explode. So ideally, it's best if they detonate in the air, because an air detonation guarantees that only debris will fall to the ground and they won't explode a second time. But if you hit it and it only loses its ability to fly and falls, it will still land somewhere. You need to use as few rounds as possible to shoot it down as quickly as you can. Why is that? Because even with a little experience, we already understand that you need to take it out as quickly as possible because it can enter a restricted zone where you're not allowed to shoot. And also, no one knows where its target is, where it will land. If you take too long to take it down, it could end up just diving straight down into some village, God forbid. That means it needs to be shot down as quickly as possible.
Can you say approximately how many Shaheds your crew shot down?
During my most recent rotation, we shot down 17 Shaheds. There were only 3 nights with air raid alerts.
Seriously?
Yes.
So about 6 per night?
Actually, during the last night alone, 11 were shot down. It's always different. A crew can take off and shoot down 1 to 2, or they can take off and shoot down 10. It depends on how much experience these people have in carrying out these missions.
When we just started intercepting and shooting down aerial targets, it was pure euphoria, adrenaline, and a sense of pride that we could do it with our old helicopters. Pride in such a level of training that we can do this, we shoot them down. And now it's gradually turning into monotonous work. Like a teacher working in a classroom, she teaches children, and well, our specialty is working in a helicopter. Like a teacher has a classroom, we have a cockpit, we have our workplaces. We sit down, fly, do our job, land, and it's fine.
Were any of your colleagues killed?
Yes, there were.
Many?
Well, I wouldn't say many. There were many acquaintances, but we weren't close. There was one friend. I carried out missions with him to strike enemy targets, and he was killed. That's my biggest personal loss.
Everyone calls it differently, but I'll say it like this. You are destroying the enemy. For us, they are simply the enemy. We destroy them. We are military. We carry out the tasks assigned to us. If our country is attacked, we must defend it. We are Army Aviation. That's our task.
Thanks for watching. Field reports and on-the-ground insights like these are made possible by donations from viewers like you. The Kyiv Independent is on a mission to get to 25,000 members by the end of 2025. If you liked what you saw today and would like more reporting along these lines, please become a member by clicking on the link in the description below.